I'd like to call this meeting to order. This is the Buena Vista Township regular meeting, July 24th, 2023. We'll start with a roll call.
Mr. Krenzer?
Here.
Mr. Renart?
Here.
Mrs. Testa?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mayor Ruggieri?
Here. On January 10th, 2023, notice of this meeting was mailed to the Daily Journal, the press, and duly posted in the main lobby of the municipal complex. All requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act have been met in compliance with the Sunshine Law. I'd like to ask everyone to rise to salute the flag. John, will you lead us?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4, approval of the minutes. Mayor, they will be moved to the August meeting as they are still in preparation.
All right, so nothing for number 4.
Nothing for number 4.
All right, number 5.
Number 5, announcements, presentations, and discussions. We have a proclamation this evening regarding the International Overdose Awareness Day.
I'd like to invite up former Assemblyman John Armato.
John, you move. Or Matt.
I'm going to brag about you for about 30 seconds. That's all it takes. And then I'm going to give you the floor. Okay. So, to those who might not know, who's standing next to me, this is a former Assemblyman, John Armato. John, past or present, is probably one of the most ingrained people within Buena Vista Township as far as his involvement in this town. I tip my hat. This proclamation is specific to International Overdose Awareness Day. I'm going to touch on this briefly and then give the floor to John. This is something near and dear to John. As a parent of 3, I can only imagine what you've been through over the last several years and what you continue to endure moving forward. So I herald the work that you've done locally and at the state level for this cause. I'm going to hand this over to you and give you the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. August 31st is the National Day of Awareness and Remembrance. It's a day to be aware that the disease of addiction takes 3,000 plus a year in the state of New Jersey. And what that does to our families, our relatives, is devastating. I lost my son 2 years ago to this disease. He fought it for a good 30 years of his adult life. And you just have to be aware that when you look at individuals who are affected by this disease, they're not those people. They are not the scum of the earth. They are not addicts. Most of the time, they are the individuals affected by a disease. I firmly believe it's a disease. And if you look at it, and we always say the 3 C's. As a parent, as a relative, as a father, a mother, you can't control it. And it's uncontrollable. You as a parent cannot control this. You didn't cause this. This is not something that you did and you can go back into your life and say, well, if I had done this differently, things would have changed. You can't do that. And you can't cure it. There is no cure for this disease, as there is no cure for alcoholism. You might go into remission, but you never cure it. So when you see these individuals, and 85% of the time it's also mental. There's also a mental aspect of this that has to be addressed. So, the 31st is the National Day of Remembrance and Awareness. As a society, we should bring these individuals to the same level as anything else. So, Buena County is going to have a visual at 6:30 at Enlightened Recovery, which is in 600 Vista Avenue in Egg Harbor City. If you have an individual that you want remembered on that day, please look for these flyers. There's flyers out there. If you want a flyer, I can give you a flyer. You can get your individual's name, your relative name mentioned that day. A little plug, I'm fortunate enough to be the MC that night. So come out and do this as a remembrance. And just one last thing I want to leave you with. There comes a point in time when we have to stop pulling people out of the river. There comes a point in time when we have to go upstream and figure out why they're falling in the river. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
I will say, I commemorate your resolve and your ability to continue to soldier on, because I can't imagine there isn't a millisecond in your life where this isn't the biggest burden in the world on your shoulders. So I do truly appreciate how involved you remained with our town and our little community, and I wish you all the success and hopefully the many decades to come.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
One last thing is, I'm also a certified recovery coach. Anyone out there, if you're struggling with this, contact me. You know, I'll come to your house, I'll come to wherever you want, and we can talk this out. I'm here, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Alrighty, item number 6, I'm going to jump into the mayor's report. A few things that we'd like to plug. August 1, National Night Out at Michael Debbie Park. This is our 3rd year. This event continues to grow within BVT year over year. We will have the state police there in full force, all of our fire, our EMS, several demonstrations. The grill will be going for the duration of the evening. This is a really good, very big free event. Fireworks will be held at dusk, so the event will conclude with our fireworks display. I want to tip my hat to every bit of 40 or 50 businesses that have contributed to help make this event what it's going to be in the next few weeks. So August 1st, 5 to 9, Michael Debbie Park, National Night Out. 4 more summer concerts left. Every Wednesday from 7 to 9 at Michael Debbie Park. Again, free events. We've got this really, really picturesque landscape in Michael Debbie Park. These events, you know, I think we're going into our 6th or 7th at this point. Lowest possible cost to feed a family. I mean, we probably go through hamburgers and hot dogs, every bit of 100 to 150. I mean, a complete meal for less than $5. Root beer floats, ice cream. So please join us. There's 4 more left every Wednesday, 7 to 9, Michael Debbie Park. This Wednesday is going to be a Bittersweet Duo. Lastly, just a quick update on the Martin Luther King Center, the improvements that have gone to date, year to date. The men's and women's bathrooms are completely renovated, floor to ceiling at this point, and are back in operation. Public Works also, top to bottom, cleaned and waxed the community room floor. Everything looks tremendous. So if you haven't been, please stop out to the King Center. And that's all I have for my report this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. Number 7, ordinances for introduction, first reading, there are none. Ordinances for public hearing, second reading, we have ordinance 132-2023, amending Chapter 115, Development Regulations pursuant to recommendations of the 2022 Master Plan Reexamination Report pertaining to lot coverages only.
Need a motion and a second to open to the public on 1/32/2023.
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I speak?
Yes. Can you state your name and address?
My name is Michelle O'Razy. I live at 642 Union Road. And I have a statement from the resident's attorney that we hired to help us with the troubles we're going through right now in this community. We are respectfully.
Is this regarding 1/32/2023?
Yes.
Okay.
We are respectfully requesting the township to table ordinance 132, 2023, chapter 115, development regulations pursuant to recommendations of the 2022 master plan, reexamination reporting pertaining to lot coverage because it directly impacts the variance that is needed by the applicant, New Frontier Solutions, regarding this application to place a cannabis retail store at 614 Union Road, and the application has been rejected. The residents and taxpayers of Buena Vista Township have made it clear that we protest the use of this location. We are the neighborhood, and the neighborhood has spoken, as well as your taxpayers and residents. If approved, the change in zoning would relieve New Frontier Solutions of a condition that they are currently subject to. The township has denied the application of New Frontier Solutions for a number of reasons. The new hearing date for New Frontier Solutions is set for September 21st, 2023. And this agenda item tonight regarding 132, 2023, chapter development regulations pursuant to recommendations of the 2022 master plan re-examination reporting directly impacts New Frontier Solutions' ability to proceed with a cannabis store that is objected to and is not wanted by a large group of your taxpayers and residents. We are kindly asking and respectfully asking you to please table this until the application is heard for its merits. A vote now would be considered a vote to support the application over our objection. Thank you. I just also wanted to say that it's magical how this came up this week.
Hello, Bob Zakowski, 3690 Canterbury Lane, Vineland, New Jersey. I'd like to talk on a couple items, definitely regarding the ordinance that is in the second reading, from what I understand, to change the impervious coverage. I think it's definitely impactful to the township negatively. I don't think the township should even consider it. I would also like to find out why, after 26 years, from what I understand, the ordinance hasn't been changed since 1997, why the need, after 26 years, to implement greater standards for impervious coverage? Who was the one that initiated it?
As it's stated, it's an ongoing process through the master plan. This didn't begin here. It was part of the review. This has been in the works for at least a year, right?
18 months.
18 months. It's a study that
Right.
involves the planner and the land use board.
Gotcha.
But any of the recommendations, ordinarily, the process is to address long-standing issues that the board sees repeatedly. The board makes recommendations through the master plan process to the governing body. Governing body is the only body that can make these changes based on what the board is dealing with on a recurrent basis.
Right.
So it's a standard process that occurs.
I think it's a little
Hold on.
occurs.
convenient
Hold on.
for you right now.
Hold on,
I'm
one at a
answering this
time, please,
question.
so I can do the minutes.
But That's the process, and that's just the standard process for land use review that's ongoing in municipalities
Right,
on a
right.
constant
I
basis.
understand that, but it's been 26 years, and I think you just mentioned the master plan and the review of this might have been in the works for 18 months. So I'm trying to find out what initiator, or what was the big need to believe that we needed to change the impervious coverage, especially in the B1 zone, because I noticed the ones that are changing are going from 10 to 25%, but for some reason, the B1 zone is going from 20 to 65%. So at some point, the city planners, the council, the planning or zoning board gathered together, and somebody thought it was important to increase the impervious coverage. So I'm just trying to get a little background on why that would have been. Because I look over at, professional plazas that are empty all over town that have 100% coverage, and it doesn't seem like we're turning businesses away that want to come here because we have plenty of availability. So what does increasing the impervious do to allow people to come here? If that was even the purpose. Can anybody answer?
I would defer that to our planner, Tiffany, who's not here tonight. That would be more of a planning zoning question.
Well, how can you vote on it tonight? Isn't it a little
We can't
convenient
can't
that's
answer
the
three
zone
people,
where your
we
populace
can't
is gonna
answer
be?
three people at
We're
one
headed
time.
down the same road again. I'm going to continue
One at a
to-
time, please.
She has to keep track of everything that occurs
One
here
at a
tonight.
time, please.
Okay, well, maybe they should. tell
One
us
at a
too.
time, please. Thank you.
Well, I would love to know the answer. It appears that the governing body of the township would know that, because if I was on the board, I would definitely know that and have an answer. So it's interesting that the planner is the only one that we paid township money to that might actually know why we're increasing the impervious coverages.
So you're saying most towns are at 100, we're at 25, we're now
No, I
going to
didn't say-
60?
I did not say that. What I
Okay.
said was there's old properties in the town before we had zoning regulations.
Okay.
Where somebody would come in, like the one that I'm thinking of, the Richland Professional Plaza, where they came in and built a building and then paved the entire parking lot because we didn't have site improvement standards back when that building was built.
Okay.
I'm not talking about all other towns. So I just find it interesting that a planner or the board agreed with the planner, but nobody can answer the question.
So in 26 years, we've probably been through maybe 2 or 3 master plans. This isn't something we do annually or every other year.
Right.
So, yeah, I would defer that question to Tiffany, but 26 years might encompass 2 or 3 master plan tweaks.
And again,
you're addressing, 10 years worth of deficiencies each time you touch that master plan.
Right.
so it's based on that knowledge, that history of what has come before the board in those intervals, and try to address that, as you said, from an overall planning
Right.
perspective, from a broader perspective, from a little bit of distance, so the standards are seen as appropriate.
Right, so you're saying if I did a 10 to 20 year OPA request on all applications that came in, that I would see a predominant use of overage on impervious coverage where the township.
I'm saying,
provide them?
I don't know about your open request. Like I said, I'm saying that those are the factors that the board and the planner would generally consider in that process.
Right. Well, I would love to do that discovery, and I agree that this should be tabled without a second reading vote through until further discovery could be done, and the township committee can actually provide a good answer on why the need for this change would be. The second thing I'd like to bring to your attention, this was given to me, evidently the township put it on Facebook, if anybody has seen this.
Yes.
Okay, basically, I'll jump.
That doesn't address the ordinance, though.
That's okay, I have a
But-
First Amendment right to speak
No,
about
but we're in a
that.
public
I'd like to-
hearing on the
That's
ordinance
correct.
specifically, so
Right.
you can only address your
Right.
comments to the ordinance right now,
Right,
so that everybody can do that.
okay, that's fine. So back to the ordinance, I will today focus on timing. Okay, timing is critical. It seems a little rather nefarious. I don't want to snap to judgments, but we're going to do a lot of discovery, and I think we all know what we're talking about here. Because the timing of the applications that are coming into the board that are impacted by this zone change and the application was pulled is just going to make it go through smoother and smoother. So I hope if it does go through and we do a discovery, we don't find anything otherwise, that there was meetings about these types of things with the applicant that were gonna impact it. Now, I'll wait till the rest of the public portion to finish, what else I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion to close on 1/32/2023.
No.
Bill,
I'd like just to take this opportunity to
can you
say
state
that
your name and address,
my
please?
name is Donna Viranorum. I'm representing my father and mother at 4919 East Landis Avenue.
And Donna, where do you live?
I live in Vineland.
Okay.
And I'm representing my parents who have 10 acres in Buena
When you,
Vista
when you
Township.
say representing them, you're appearing on their, you're speaking for them.
Correct.
You're not representing them in an official capacity, though. I just want to be clear for the record.
I
Okay.
can, if you want me to, I'm the POA,
Okay, thank you.
and I have that paperwork. We are respectfully requesting that the township table the ordinance 132-2023, Chapter 115, Development Regulations pursuant to recommendations of the 2022 Master Plan Reexamination reporting pertaining to lot coverage because it directly impacts the variance that is needed by applicant New Frontier Solutions LLC regarding its application to place a cannabis retail store at 614 Union Road. And the application has been rejected. The residents and taxpayers of Buena Vista Township have made it clear that we will protest this and use this at this location. We are the neighborhood, and the neighborhood has spoken, and I'm repeating this again.
Donna, can I interrupt you? You guys are trying to make this connection that doesn't exist. I have no issues taking a vote right now to table this. There seems to
Okay,
be
so
this
can we-
this perception that one has something to do with the other, and I don't think the two roads could be
Okay.
any further in opposite directions.
Well, we see it as a connection.
So let's
because
table
of-
it.
Okay, so that's.
Let's
Well,
table
we
it.
have to close to the public first, and then we can make a motion to table it, but we got to close first, so.
Okay, so there's no chance of it being, anything else happening tonight but it being tabled?
I mean, right now, I'd table it. I mean, if everybody else here, I don't know what everybody else is thinking, but, I mean, there's obviously some concern from the community, which I respect, and I want you guys to do your due diligence and things like that, and then we can show you there's no direct correlation between one and the other. So we could table it to an October meeting?
So
Would that be sufficient?
if the governing body so wishes to table the ordinance will be held in conveyance until at such time it comes back after it is renoticed for a public hearing, since it has already been introduced. It was introduced at the last meeting in which everybody was here. There is no
But
court.
at that, may I
She's just-
interrupt you? May I interrupt you?
No.
At that-
Actually,
She's
I'm
just
going to say
explaining the
no.
process. She's just explaining the
Okay.
process.
I'm just going to say no. At that time, it will be renoticed for a public hearing, at which time the governing body feels that, it needs to be brought back up for an actual hearing and adoption. At that time, it also will be sent up to the Pinelands Commission before it even becomes effective. The Pinelands Commission has to review the ordinance, adopt the ordinance, and send it back to the municipality. So even if it is adopted tonight, it has not become effective until the Pinelands certifies our ordinance as being consistent with the master plan, which could take several months as well. So I just want to make sure that everybody else understands the process. This is not an immediate effective tonight, even if it was adopted. It will take several months before the Pinelands even reviews it and adopts it and sends it back for certification.
Okay, may
Just
I
want to
speak
make sure
now?
the governing body is aware of that as well.
Okay, may I speak now?
Yes.
Yes. Thanks, Don.
Last meeting, when you brought it up and first passed it, did you state the specifications of how this lot coverage is going to be amended?
It's not required to be. It's only required to be at a public hearing. You could have opened it, I could have discussed it at any time. I mean, I'd be more than happy to discuss how it came to culmination tonight. If the governing body wishes for me to do so, it's at the purview of the chair and the solicitor. But, in the end of the day, it could be tabled. It's not going to benefit, or it will actually hurt residents more than it will any commercial developments, other residents who are coming in for certain things like pole barns or things of that nature that they would really need this ordinance to be able to help them for their private properties more than it would be for a commercial property.
So just so I understand, they'd have to get a variance.
That
as
is
of right now
correct.
And put it in front of the planning zoning board.
Correct. It would
Okay.
cost them thousands of dollars
Got it.
for one variance to come in front of the board where we're trying to correct that.
Got it.
So I just want to make sure that the governing body is fully aware of what the effects of this ordinance really becomes, more so to the residents than it would for a commercial developer.
Okay, so again, we would request that it gets tabled until the hearing for
Sure.
Frontiers Solutions.
Sure.
One point, you should tell them is that that's not Pineland. Why does it have to go for the Pineland?
Because it's still part of the master plan.
It's part of the
Because
overall-
everything else that is in here, it's not just the B1. This is every zoning district within Buena Vista Township. It has to be certified by the Pinelands Commission. It doesn't only affect those non-Pinelands, it affects Pinelands residents as well.
Does anybody have anything else? We'll close, we'll move forward.
So,
Sorry,
okay.
I won't take up much of your time. Joseph Procopio, 4841 Lance Avenue, Buena Vista Township. I just have a comment and a question regarding to what Ms. Tilton just said. First of all, I appreciate you all up here. I understand how hard it is. I know last meeting you guys were getting yelled at. I've been there before on the receiving end. It's not fun. Appreciate what you guys do. You guys are, the front line of defense of our communities. Probably you could make the argument more important than anyone at the county, state, or even federal level. And that being said, I really think it's a great idea. Mr. Krenzer, you had mentioned, to avoid any image of impropriety or maybe a conflict with respect to the cannabis application, having it be tabled by a couple months seems to make a lot of sense to me. I would appreciate that certainly as a member of the community. But with that being said, with respect to what you just brought up, Ms. Tilton, with the effect it would have on the other, right? So the way I read the ordinance change, which is like an adoption of the master plan, I think there's like 5 or 6 changes, one
12.
including the B1 zone.
12.
Right?
More than that,
12.
12.
Okay, 12 changes to the lot
12.
size requirement.
Correct.
Is there anything barring the committee from adopting all of the changes to the lot size requirements with the exception of the B1 business zone?
Since it is a significant change, they would have to reintroduce the ordinance tonight without that change for the B1, and then it would have to go back for a public hearing in order for it to be adopted with that taken out. Will the Pinelands approve it? I don't know, because the Pinelands likes to see everything consistent with the master plan. We could do it, but I have a feeling, I'm not the Pinelands, everybody who deals with the Pinelands, I'm sure knows that they like to see everything consistent. They could say they want that in there, but that's up to the Pinelands.
They're
but
not our elected officials.
They're not,
Okay,
but
sorry.
they are an agency that seem to tailor and
yeah, I
control
understand.
everything else that happens,
gotta
but
pull a lot of
we could,
strings.
but we would have to reintroduce it and then have another public hearing with that, so.
I'm just bringing that up because it seems like to not, provide any challenges for other people who are in other zones, perhaps, things would move faster if you introduce the amended ordinance tonight and then the following meeting in August, if it gets approved after a public hearing, then at least the ball can get rolling with respect to everyone with the exception of B1. That's just, I'm throwing that out there. I hate to inconvenience anyone, however, I think that might make a lot of sense given the current circumstances. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Lisa, how would you word that if that was even an opportunity?
This would have to be revised and reintroduced,
Correct.
re-advertised
Correct.
for a
Correct.
public hearing.
Right. You could amend the ordinance as
Amend
it
it
is
tonight.
amended and introduce it with the B1 zoning district remaining at
So
20%.
no change, right?
Everything else therefore would change. I would amend the 132-23 and advertise for the August meeting.
Can we table this completely tonight, work on just segmenting that one piece of this for next August, for the August meeting?
We can introduce it at August and it can be heard at the first meeting in September.
Okay.
Bill, my only problem with that is the people that have an application in or coming in.
Well,
we've
that's been
seen
the
a lot
way
of
things have been
development,
anybody wanting to, put up a pool or
Yeah, but
a
that's, it
pole
would
barn.
cost them a
next
lot of
land
money,
use
so
meeting.
that's the only thing.
What's that?
When's the next land use meeting?
It's,
August.
yeah.
So before adoption, we could
Right.
get it, we could get it there and back. 'Cause it's gotta go there
If
and
it's,
back.
if it's reintroduced tonight, yes. If not, it will be
Then no.
late September. Yeah,
So, but
September or
because it's got-
August.
Because it's a land use matter,
Yeah.
it would have to go over and it would have to be referred and returned.
I just hate to hang up anybody that has a pending application, or application coming in, that therefore would have to go back, get the attorney, get the surveys, get all this other stuff for a variance, rather than, not just changing it now to take the B1 out and move forward with that. Tonight, it seems like that's what everybody, is in agreement with in the community too. So let's do that, let's close, and let's move on. So, if you're good.
All right, I need a
Chairman.
motion and a second to close on 1/32/2023.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then administratively, how do we exclude B1 from this component?
We can,
Give me 1 second, Matt, I'm sorry. Let me just
Okay.
look at dates.
Yep.
I appreciate your patience, guys. We're forging new ground together procedurally.
we just have to make sure that the dates line up for
Yeah,
process
that everything
purposes.
lines up.
Yeah.
Mayor, I would actually request, let's go ahead and table this. We can reintroduce it at the next meeting,
Which is what date, Lisa?
which will be August 28th, with the removal or remaining B1 at 20%, which is what it is current. And then we can have it back September 25th for a public hearing.
Are we gonna renumber it then? We're not introducing, we're not
No,
doing it
table it
tonight
and I'll
anyway, so
renumber it.
we're just tabling it tonight.
It'll be a different
So
number
we
on
need,
the ordinance.
do we need a motion to table?
Do we need a motion
We
to
need a
table?
motion to
I make a
table.
motion to table 132-2023 to August 28th.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just give me 1 second to update the minutes, Mayor.
Do we need a roll call vote on that?
Was that a roll call, Lee?
No, you're good.
No?
Okay.
Okay,
Good?
good.
Item 9.
Item 9, public comment on current agenda items only. In order for the committee to conduct the business of the township in the most productive manner possible, meeting attendees will be given 2 minutes, all-inclusive, to comment on any agenda items without comment or question from the committee, but only on items specified on the agenda listed for the current meeting. Please step up to the microphone at the appropriate time and state your name and address for the record. Resolution 127-23 is authorizing the payment of
Not yet.
bills in the amount of $746,316.69. Consent agenda includes items of business which are not controversial and do not require individual discussion. A motion approving the consent agenda is moved, seconded, and voted upon by one item as the Township Committee. If any discussion is requested on a consent agenda item, it is removed from the consent agenda to the regular agenda. Resolution 128-23 is authorizing the issuance of street opening permits to South Jersey Gas. 129-23 is accepting the annual audit report for calendar year 2022. 130-23 is award bid to Chemical Equipment Labs for rock salt through Atlantic County Cooperative Purchasing. 131-23 is approving the submission of a grant application and execute grant contract for reconstruction of Old Landis Avenue Phase 2. 132-23 is granting a leave of absence to Carlo Marighi. 133-23 is granting a leave of absence to Daniel Bard. 134-23 is authorizing cancellation of taxes and refund due to veterans exemption. And 135-23 is authorizing the cancellation of taxes and refund due to veterans exemption.
We need a motion and a second to open to the public for agenda items only.
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to close?
Motion.
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My name is Joe O'Rourke. I'm a builder developer, live in Vineland, New Jersey.
Hang on, Joe, this is pertaining to the resolutions, correct, that we have
It
here?
is, I
right?
just
Okay.
a clarity, there's just one item I didn't understand.
Of course.
If I could get that. So it looks like 132-2023, 115 is going to be tabled until August 28th. And my question is, it seemed like earlier that it was brought up, tabled to October 26th, and I just didn't understand that. I might have missed something.
We're tabling it to the next meeting so we can go back, take the B1 out of it, and then we're able to reintroduce it and get it through to the next zoning planning board meeting here, so it doesn't affect anybody that has a
For
pending
tonight.
application in already for a barn or
On
things
the
like that.
residential side.
So on the residential side.
But what was the original comment on October 26th? I didn't understand that. Someone had mentioned, I think it was Mayor Ruggiero, talked about making a motion possibly if everybody would be quiet, and something about October 26th I thought was mentioned. I could have misunderstood that.
No.
I don't know.
My
Not
mistake
October.
then.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's
no problem.
recorded.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I said October 26th?
No,
Someone did.
I don't think
So
so.
I didn't understand what that meant, and I didn't understand the difference between August 28th and October 26th, and what would happen on each of those dates.
It was, Mr. Ruggiero initially suggested that they table the ordinance hearing until October 26th to avoid any issues that were brought up.
Right, now did it just
So
move to August 28th?
It changed because now they
We didn't say
intend
that.
on
He did.
amending the
I don't remember
ordinance
saying that.
to take out the D1 section.
He said that.
And then move forward with the ordinance as it stands, with the exception of the D1
That,
section.
that's what would occur in August.
And so they-
Because you need two readings.
The purpose of that is so they can move forward with the rest of the changes
He said
and
that.
not with the D1.
We need 2 readings here at this body, and in between the 2 meetings, it has to be referred back to the land board, and that's why Ms. Tilton was checking the calendar. We're trying to line everything up in the proper sequence that's required to undertake that action.
Thank you. Just trying to understand timeline.
No problem.
Anybody else on agenda items only?
Motion to close.
Motion to close.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Need a motion and a second on 12723 to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills?
Second.
Roll call?
Krenzer?
Yes.
Renart?
Yes.
Testa?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Ruggieri?
Yes. And a motion and a second to adopt consent agenda resolutions 128 through 135.
Motion to adopt 128-23 through 135-23.
Second.
Roll call?
Krenzer?
Yes.
Renart?
Yes.
Testa?
Yes.
Williams?
Yes.
Ruggieri?
Yes. Item 12, Township Administrator's Report.
Thank you, Mayor. My report just reflects back to the accepting of the annual audit, 129-23. Again, I would like to proudly report and congratulate the staff for another clean audit this year with no findings, no management findings. All procedures and protocols and regulations are being adhered to by all departments. So that's a huge feat for any municipality. So I really appreciate and really put the hats off to all the workers that make that work. So that audit was presented and it'll be available on our website tomorrow. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Lisa. We're going to jump over to item 13, committee reports. We're going to start with Deputy Mayor Ellen Testa.
Well, I really don't have much to report on, except to say that all of our concerts have been going great and have been very successful and seem to be enjoyed greatly by the township residents. To repeat what you said, we have 4 more left. And I hope they're as well attended and as successful as they have been. Again, to reiterate your comments on National Night Out being on August 1st. I hope to see many people attend, as it's been so successful in the past. We have a great fireworks display, as we have in the past, and I'm sure it'll be even better. And that's about it. Again, I hope we have a great attendance for our National Night Out. It's been a huge success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Committeeman Aaron Krenzer.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Just a couple things today. I won't bore you guys with a bunch of stuff. Public Works update. All the guys and team are doing the parks. They're doing event prep for National Night Out, roadside grass, grading, The township basins are being cleaned, and septic inspections of township buildings are also happening this past week. So they're busy over there. Just to touch base on our car show, for those of you that didn't attend, it was unbelievable. We had over 150 cars registered and participated there. There was everything from new to old to all kinds of stuff. So it was a great time had by all with food trucks as well. So we look forward to doing that in years to come also. And I just wanted to say, thank you to all the volunteers for all the Wednesday night concerts too. Everybody takes a lot of time out of their schedule to participate in that. Lisa, thank you and the staff for a great audit. That's a big undertaking, and each year I know that you and the team do a great job on that. And it's been raining off and on and crazy weather, and I know that we'll get a torrential downpour, and the farmers' fields are all flooded and that. And the next day it's 110 and no rain for 10 days. So I feel for the farmers. My prayers are with you guys, and I hope we can get through this season together. So that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. Kurt Renard, what do you have for us tonight?
I would just like to reiterate on the National Night Out, to all the people that missed the fireworks on July 4th, this is your chance to see them. They should be just as good, if not better, than they would have been on July 4th. That's it.
Thank you, Kurt. John, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I attended the car show on the 1st, and as a member of the Environmental Commission, we gave out two 25-hour gift certificates to Plant Source, and I donated those, and the Plant Source donated the 3 hanging flower baskets, and that was a very nice event, and it was attended by many people, and it was good to see the car show come back to us again.
Yep.
And then also, I wanted to thank Lisa for the audit, or at least in her staff. We did a really good job this year. I was looking at the figures for it. And also, I wanted to give a shout out to recommend the National Night Out. And I know this is our 3rd one, but we did very well in the last 2. And we're looking forward to that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Item 14, public comment.
Public comment. The committee welcomes participation of interested organizations and individuals during regular caucus, workshop, and special meetings. However, in order to conduct the business of the township in the most productive manner possible, attendees will be given 4 minutes, all-inclusive, including all dialogue, questions, and responses from both the speaker and the committee for the designated public portion of the meeting. There may be no transference of a speaker's time to other attendees, so please step up to the microphone and state your name and address for the record.
Need a motion and a second to open to the public?
Motion to open to the public?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hello, Bob Zakowski. I've stated name and address earlier. Not sure if you need to restate. So this, I'm not sure if any of the board members are aware of this or have seen this. Evidently, this was on the township website. The part that I'm concerned about, it says, no comments will be taken regarding any specific cannabis application tonight. Can anybody tell me who wrote this?
I did.
Okay, well, that's a violation. Okay,
It's not.
I'm here to tell the township and the people of the town, if you have a committee, and I hate to be adversarial, but the last meeting was very contentious. You guys seem a lot calmer, and I thank you for that. So I think we want to be heard again. You can talk about whatever you want. You can get up here for 4 minutes and talk about the sun, the moon, and the stars. This is a violation. Okay, no comments will be taken. What they intend to say is that no comments can be heard and taken into the record because that application is not being heard tonight. But you can talk about this application if you don't like it. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. And feel free to get up and have at it and let them know what you feel about the application. The one last thing I'd like to add is just, like I said last month, I mean, what a destruction of the township. Okay, you ride down Landis Ave, I got farms. I have Baruffi Brothers, been there for years. I have Mariggy Savoy Inn. I have C&M Flowers on Union Road. I have a Catholic school that has a waiting list to get in. I have Lavari Trucking. What a beautiful landscape. We're growing farms. and now we want to put a pot store? Let me tell you something. I've smoked pot before. If you need to get pot, you can get it wherever you want. You don't need a store on the corner. What is the intent to bring this into the town? I don't know why anybody would be excited about this. It's a destruction of the town. And if you can't see it, and if you look at the ripple effects of what you're going to do to the children, they're going to ride by and see this all the time. It's the wrong move. I know you're already down the road a little bit because it was introduced and approved into the B1 zone. It was the wrong move, but you have the opportunity because the application has variances. Might not be for use. Okay?
Again, you're addressing the variances. This is
I can
not the
talk
land.
about
You
whatever I
can,
want.
I understand. I need to make it clear to you.
I'm very clear.
No,
You've already
I'll,
made it clear.
well, I haven't said anything, so I don't know how I made it clear.
Right, you can't take my comments on the application.
And you're here potentially jeopardizing that action.
That's
but
fine, I would
okay.
love that. I would actually
Now,
welcome that.
you don't understand. You're jeopardizing the land use board's ultimate outcome.
I'm
That was my
completely aware.
point.
You made me aware of that last time.
Okay,
When
I'm
you
good.
said
Okay.
board members might be tainted, and they might
Yes.
have to abstain. And I said,
And
well,
so
we'll
that
get
was what the
alternates.
point is that that matter is not being voted on tonight.
We're very well aware of that.
And Bob, just talking, and keeping everybody up to date, what you may or may not know, and I'm thinking you do, but the actual cannabis license for that particular applicant was denied by Township Committee. And that was, what's that? Yeah, by the administration and that as well. And they need that license to operate in BVT or wherever, whether it be Vineland, whether it be anywhere else. So as of right now, they have no license.
When was that denied?
Last week.
I denied it last week.
Okay.
So there's no license. So you need a license, and then you need the actual building and the permit for that, correct?
Yeah, we had enacted the local license is what
Correct.
was denied. There's
Are you able to
the
share with us the
statute,
grounds?
the statute allows us to have that, keep that authority, and the Township Committee kept that authority. It was exercised administratively because the application did not meet all the requirements.
And Bob, I think you have to Oprah for it. Is that
We
correct?
already
Gotcha.
Okay.
So we know they
Got it.
said they had a security
Thank
firm
you.
that didn't even know who they were. I mean, they were pretty shoddy.
Again, we can't discuss the
Okay.
details of that, no problem, but,
Well, I appreciate that.
But
yeah,
that-
no
thank
problem.
you, Bob.
Yeah. Yep.
That's
So
accurate.
I just want to make sure everybody was clear
That's all I
with the
have. Thank you
facts
for-
here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Donna Hensel, 812 Harding Highway, Buena, New Jersey. I've lived in this township my entire life, and until recently, I have never been ashamed. A cannabis store taking exemptions and rights from veterans and honoring a 3-year-old program of National Night Out before our nation's birthday. You might as well pass out cannabis in the schools. They certainly won't learn anything here.
David Paczynski, 131 19th Avenue, Milmay, Buena Vista Township. I'm here tonight to try to figure out why this township and this township committee has been harassing my 91-year-old father and my 83-year-old mother over a perfectly legal deer fence on Yost Road, which is perfectly legal according to your fence ordinance. I knew I wouldn't get an answer.
Mr. Attorney, didn't we give him a plan?
We're in the middle of the process, and Mr. Wachinski's aware of that. There was an exchange today regarding the attempt to move forward to resolve the matter.
Gotcha.
And he's aware of that. He submitted it.
Oh, yeah,
We
okay.
received it today, sir.
So, Bill, back in May of 2022, I called you and asked you the same question, why you've been harassing my parents for 3.5 years at that time.
Me personally?
Yes, I did. I have phone records.
I wouldn't know who
And
your
you-
parents were if I was in the same room.
I didn't ask you to know who they are.
Okay.
But I asked you why you were harassing them, and you gave me your 4 stock answers that your clerk gave to us. And every stock answer you asked me, I answered it with facts. And at the very end, you said, David, this belongs in front of the zoning board. And I asked you, Bill, why hasn't it been in front of the zoning board in 3.5 years? Do you remember what your answer was? Your answer was, I'm going to call you back in 24 hours. I never got a phone call back. But you know what phone call I got in 10 days? A phone call from my 83-year-old mother crying. Because you guys went from one municipal charge against my father to 2 municipal charges, one against my mother and one against my father, the same charges to both of them. Are you a bunch of bullies? Is it tough? Do you feel tough to harass a 91-year-old man and an 83-year-old woman? Ms. Tessa, in September of 21, I went to your chicken barbecue, and I talked to you, and I talked to Aaron, and I talked to Bill about this case. And you guys were running for election, and you told me, I told you everything was going on, and you seemed very, very concerned. But you said, I don't know anything about the case.
Correct.
But if you elect me, I'm going to look into this. And I asked you if you read your fence ordinance, you said no. And I respected your answer because you didn't have any facts yet. But I elected you guys. This is my Republican Party up here. And this is what you're doing to my parents. Are you proud of that? In April, this past April, at municipal court, your prosecutor for this township started the hearing. The first thing she said was, Your Honor, I wish to incarcerate the defendants for failure to remove their deer fence. That's what you guys stand for. You want to incarcerate my 91-year-old father and my 83-year-old mother. Are you
Dave,
proud of this? Are you proud of this?
Hang on, hang on.
Well,
Dave, you put a 1,300-foot fence on public property.
A perfectly legal fence
We've
according
gone
to your
back
fence
and
ordinance,
forth.
Aaron.
We've gone
A
back and forth
perfectly
with you
legal
for
fence
3 years.
according to your fence
We've
ordinance.
offered
You
to
have
move
deer
this
fences
fence.
all over this
We've
township
offered to
with the
do
same
different
situation.
things,
You have
all of which
illegal
you have not
landscape
responded to,
fences.
Dave.
You have illegal landscape
been
fences all over
irate.
this township
You have
that you
caused
refuse to
ruckus.
ignore.
It is ridiculous how you are responding to
No,
this.
it's not.
So absolutely,
You know the
it
stress-
absolutely
you know the
is.
stress you put
We've
my
given you
parents to?
reasons and ways out of
You know
this
the
to
number
fix
one
it.
cause
You
of death?
won't move
You
the
know the
fence.
number one cause of death?
You won't move the fence.
It's
How
a
does a
legal
trash
fence,
truck?
Aaron.
How does a
It's a
trash
legal
truck get down the
fence, Aaron.
driveway?
It's a
Come
legal
on.
fence.
No.
Your fence ordinance says it's legal.
Mr. Baczynski,
Read it.
Read
I have.
Summonses, as you know, we discussed this at the public forum. The summonses are written under the road opening permit. There's a dispute. We met. We appeared in front of the Ag Board. There was apparently a process put in place for us to resolve this. There were promises or statements made by both parties. You complied with that. We received it today. And you know that, or you were advised of that. And that's an ongoing process in an attempt to resolve the matter. Again,
This township met in executive session last month. I was told to discuss the deer fence. You can meet in executive session tonight and put this to bed. You can decide tonight that this fence is legal, have a good day, and write my parents a letter apologizing to them what you've done for 4.5 years now. 4.5 years.
How does a trash truck and the recycle truck turn around at the end
How
of
does
the
it
road?
turn around on 19th Avenue where I live, Aaron?
They do. Bill and I have driven down there.
I live there,
They don't
Aaron.
back down.
Excuse me?
No.
They back down 19th and 20th Avenue. Aaron, I lived there at the last house on 19th Avenue. Are you kidding me? Trash trucks back down. I've talked to the trash truck people. They back down roads all over this county. That's what it's all about. Put your turnaround in. Why don't those houses have a turnaround? You ignored your own ordinance when those houses got built. Now you're taking it out on my parents?
Mr. Baczynski.
91 years
but
old.
Mr. Baczynski, again, we've been in conversation for the last 4 weeks to try to resolve this. And it
So
was
put
my,
it to bed tonight.
Sir,
I'm tired of trying to
sir,
resolve
it
it.
was
You know
my-
the stress you caused her?
Sir.
In March, excuse me, Mom, but in March, your same prosecutor, you know what she asked their attorney twice? Do you want to know, Mrs. Tessa, you want to know what they asked them? What's the financial status of your clients? Is this a game? Let's see how much money we can make them lose. Because I will Oprah this township to know how much money you spent trying to go after this 83-year-old woman and 91-year-old man. This is a joke. Put it to bed tonight. I don't want to go back. You already
Okay.
wrote a letter today saying it doesn't belong in the right to farm. So you're not supporting what they did.
No, that's not true, Mr.
On August 15th, 7 o'clock in Mays Lane, at the township, at the municipal building for the Ag Development Board, come here and support my parents.
Mr. Baczynski, I'm just saying that process
Yes.
was undertaken, and there were representations that you were participating in it.
So put it to bed tonight.
No, I'm saying, you're saying that you don't want to participate in that amicable
Oh, I'm
resolution.
going to be there. But
No,
look,
no, no,
you
there
don't
was-
have to go back there. You can
I
write a letter to the
understand
Ag
that.
Development Board tonight to say we've decided to
I
put
understand
this
that,
to
sir. As you
Bill, when they went to jail, were you going to allow my parents to be in the same cell, or are you going to separate them?
All right, Dave, we're at 4 minutes. Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, I bet you appreciate it.
Yeah, they want to incarcerate them, but it was already approved. You don't know who I am, I'm Cecile.
I'm Eric Hensel, Tucker Road, Mill, Maine, New Jersey. And if I can just follow up on this past discussion, that I rent the farm land on that farm. And the only thing that I asked, I can understand that it's really started as a feud between neighbors. The fence, it's great to say it's on public land. I can show you unbelievable stuff on public land where it don't make a hill of beans. The only thing that I asked when the order was for this fence to be turned down, I've got crops behind there. That deer fence is protecting them crops. I don't know if any of you people, it seems to me that none of you I see with a farm background. I don't know if any of you know
Mr.
what
Hansel,
a herd of deer, I don't know if any of you know what a herd of deer can do to a farm. I've seen my farm before we put fences up and places that we rent to have as many as 50 deer in a field at one time. And the only thing that I asked Lisa at the time, if this could, instead of being torn down 3 or 4 months ago like the order came, can you wait until November where we can address this in the winter? Let me get my crops out. And I was told that the fence had to come down. If something happened on the road, it would be a public liability that the township would be responsible for. Nobody's saying that this road only has 10 cars a day going down it. There's no speed limit posted. You can go 50 miles an hour. There's nothing saying there's a big oak tree in the middle of the road. That's fine. My problem is that what I'm concerned about, I'm a little hard of hearing, and I tend not to hear everything that's going on. But from the Ag Development Board and what I'm hearing roundabout, that they're talking of changing some kind of an ordinance or something to address that fence being on the public land. And I don't know what it is or what it isn't. The only thing my concern is, when you start addressing something on a public road different than whatever, different than what is, it's going to have some effect on every paper street and every unimproved road that the township owns. It's going to create a little bit of liability. When you sold that alley to sidelines, 600 foot long and 20 foot wide, that bordered 8 different properties, you're assuming the right that you own those things. And I can tell you, if you're changing the ordinances on township land, township roads, when you get on the other side of Chestnut Avenue going into Milmay, I wouldn't be surprised there's as many as 50 miles of public roads, of township unimproved roads, roads that are, some of them improved, some of them are trails where you can maybe drive a four-wheeler or something down, and there's a lot of them that are paper streets. No more than a surveyor line, something that was put in the late 1800s, but they're still township owned. We had one of the paper streets in that area, to go back about 30 years ago, we were deer hunting with a club in that area. We had one of our members fall out of a deer stand and broke his back on one of the paper streets. My feeling is you'd be a lot better off, instead of at least be aware of what you're doing, and you would be a lot better off passing an ordinance basically that any unintended, unapproved things that happen on these township roads, that the township is not responsible. I seen a guy the other day on one of your township roads practicing wheelies on a motorcycle, practicing the first time. If he gets hurt, can he sue the township? The guy falling, I can show you deer stands today on a public road, on a paper street. And I'm telling you, there might be as many as 50 miles of paper streets on the other side of Chestnut Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hansel.
Thank you, Mr. Hensel.
Hi, my name
name is Ray Hoffa. I live on 259 Mayflower Drive in Cranberry Run. So, as you all know, Cranberry Run was sold to Legacy a couple years ago, 2.5 years ago. They have raised the rent to the point where we are the highest around. New people for 55-plus communities. New people coming into Cranberry Run are paying almost, I think it's $793 for lot rent. Just to put that into perspective, the Oaks of Weymouth, which they has rent control, the rent control board, they're paying $685. And I was just wanted to ask if the township would consider an ordinance for some type of rent control for 55-plus communities in Buena Vista Township, given the burden that they're giving our residents there.
I'll defer that to Matt.
Yeah, I
That's
mean-
out of my realm of expertise. I don't know if that's something
I mean, I know
we're,
there's a long process to
Yeah,
that,
there's-
but I understand, but just even if you guys would consider that, I mean, there's a lot of people that are going to be unable to stay there, you know, and you know, eventually, you know, how high is this rent going to go? They imposed an 8.1% increase last year. Now I understand the CPI was high last year, but we don't know, you know, this year, you know, what it could be. So, you know, in a few years, I mean, you're going to be looking at $1,000 in lot rent.
Ray, how many lots are there in Cranberry?
I believe there's around 300. Yeah.
Is that?
299.
Okay, yeah.
It just seems an exorbitant amount.
And they're full, Ray?
I'm sorry?
They're full as far as,
Occupancy.
they're all occupied?
I don't think we're completely full. As far as, are there a lot of empty houses? Are there a lot of empty houses? I mean, not.
Pretty full, okay.
We're full? Yeah. Okay. Well, what's happening now is the old owners, they gave a 5-year lease. I believe it was 2020 through 2025. So they're still paying the old rate, which was somewhere around $550. Come January 1st, 2025, these people are now going to be paying the new rate under Legacy, which is going to be, I mean, it's going to be well over the $793 that, you know, we're talking about tonight. So you're going to have a whole lot of people either moving out of the park or, you know, maybe if they qualify for some sort of, you know, rent freeze or something, but it's going to become a, you know, a huge, you know, situation within the township in that community.
Yeah.
And it just seems like there's just no end in sight, you know, for what, you know, they want to charge us there. And it is, after all, 55-plus community. I don't know if a 55-plus community gets any type of tax break or with the school tax.
Not by statute, no. I'll have to, you know, we'll have to look at that and get.
can we dig into this in the next few days and see if there's any?
Weymouth Township, I'm a retired teacher. I taught
Okay.
there for 30 years. They have an actual rent control board.
Yeah, we'd have to form
The
one
Oaks
by
of
ordinance.
Weymouth, again, I think it's like a 5% cap per year.
Yeah, we'd have to
Gotcha.
create that by formal ordinance
Yeah,
in order to enforce whatever provisions were put in place.
Just,
so.
you know,
Yeah.
consider it. I mean, in the long
Do you
run, I think
have
it'll be very
Ray's
helpful
contact
to the,
information or no?
you know, the residents of
No,
that community,
but I'll
especially the
get
older
it.
Yeah.
residents.
Hey, Ray, Lisa's going to get your contact information, and then we can follow up through Lisa and yourself, okay?
All right,
If you
thank
could just call, can you call my office in the morning? We'll hook up and talk, and then I'll at least have your
Yeah,
contact
okay,
information
I
email.
still work, but can I call you like in the afternoon?
Yeah, either that or email me,
Okay.
and then we'll keep in contact after our attorney kind of looks and research and see what we could do. And I'll also reach out to Weymouth. I'll speak to DJ, the clerk over there, and see how they kind of organize and handle internally that stuff that's handled over there, so it kind of gives the governing body a little bit of outlook to that.
Okay, all right, great.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you,
very
Ray.
much.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you.
Cecilia Baczynski, 905 Tuckahoe Road, Milmay. Been a resident all my life. Have walked down Yost Road since I was a little kid. One thing I don't understand. There was a deer fence up. It was taken down. And then the boys were asked to move it over so many more feet, which they did. They followed the recommendation. the zoning officer came out and approved where it was. So now, don't you honor your own word where it was approved? And now you want it taken down? You want to confiscate the fence? You want to put a lien against our property? But you said it was approved, and you want to incarcerate us. And the word criminal is written against my husband and I. So why have you not honored your own decision when it was approved by the zoning officer? Who can answer that question? This has been going on for 4 years. I'm waiting for an answer. It was approved. It is recorded. It has been approved by the zoning officer where it
Again,
is.
when we were at the Ag Board, there was a process set forth to try to resolve this amongst the parties, and that process, as late as today, was still underway in order to do what you're requesting, which is to resolve this between the parties without any of the
What
things.
needs to be resolved when it was already, the fence was already approved?
Again, the fence is in the public right-of-way.
But it was approved by the
So,
zoning
there's a
officer.
lot of fences in the township and road right-of-ways, including landscaping fences, which are illegal. according to your fence ordinance.
And
we never.
where's the cul-de-sac that was supposed to be put up when those two houses went up behind us?
I'm trying to respond. The township does not and did not take a position that deer fences can't be put up. The position was regarding the location of it.
Yeah, it was approved, sir. It was approved.
The process that we discussed at the Ag Board, that the Ag Board laid out as a reasonable path forward, was for there to be a vacation of a portion of that property. And the first step in that was that to have the application submitted and reviewed. The application was received today. So that process, as of this afternoon, the attempt to resolve the issue permanently is still underway.
So the resolve is to move it another 19 feet over.
That
That's
solution is purely
19
administrative,
feet
correct?
more, after it was already
But you could
approved.
resolve it tonight. You could go into executive session tonight and just say the case is done, correct? You could take a vote tonight and not be puppets, but somebody actually stand up for my parents. Could somebody actually do that? Have you been on Central Avenue and Vine Road?
No, I haven't.
There's a fence a foot off the blacktop. Been there for 15 years. But that's not
Again,
an issue.
Mr. Wachinski, we are in good faith trying to resolve this
You're not
with
in
you.
good faith.
I don't believe
Aaron,
it. I don't
Aaron,
believe
your
it.
stepfather, your grandfather-in-law was best friends with my father. Earlier, you were praying for farmers for a good crop. I hope you're praying for my father.
I
'Cause
am.
He was a farmer too.
Absolutely.
And your grandfather-in-law will be rolling over in his grave.
Well,
At
I
your
appreciate
house.
that, and I don't
And you're gonna tell me on 19th Avenue,
Bill,
the
get him
trash
out.
truck doesn't
Bill,
back down
Bill,
my
get him
drive,
out.
my
Out.
road.
All
Where's
right,
the
guys.
Oh,
cul-de-sac?
kick me out. Go
Get him
ahead.
out.
Go ahead, kick me out.
I want him out.
You're cowards.
Where's the
You're
cul-de-sac?
91-year-old father, and you're a coward. You're gonna be kicked out by this gentleman right
All
here.
right, guys.
You promised a cul-de-sac. It was in your minutes. Where is it? And you're all worried about it. The neighbor in the back who can't stand the ding, ding, ding of a trash truck backing up. Because of him, here we are, 4 years later. You can't honor your own decisions. You lie.
All righty. Anybody else for public comment?
Do I need to say my name?
Please.
Donna Norm. I live in Vineland. I'm here speaking on behalf of my father and mother who live on 4919 East Landis Avenue in Buena, Vista Township.
Donna, could you speak a little louder, please?
Yes. The first question I have, on what date did you first vote to prohibit cannabis in Buena Vista Township? Are you going to respond?
Man.
I don't have
March
an answer for-
22nd,
It was prior to
2021.
the deadline.
She has it.
On what date did you have your final vote to prohibit cannabis businesses in Buena Vista Township? April 26, 2021. What public notice did you put in the Daily Journal or other newspapers stating that there was going to be an amendment to the master plan to include cannabis? Can you state that?
Donna, this is the public comment section,
Yeah.
not the public inquisition.
Okay.
Do you already have the
So
answer?
was there?
Do you
was
have the
there-
answer?
Yeah.
Okay,
You-
then
there
tell
was
us the answer.
nothing. There was nothing regarding cannabis put in the Daily Journal or the Atlantic City Press stating that you were going to amend the 2022 master plan for cannabis.
Chair, I'm actually going to interject on that. It was published, and actually, I believe, Michelle, you came in and we discussed that regarding it, and it was done in December, that it was actually published twice. It was published upon introduction, and it was published upon adoption, and it was published. And I believe we had that conversation, Michelle, when she was in.
You put that in the legal notices in the Daily Journal?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because I couldn't find it.
It was published in the Press of Atlantic City. If you would like, you can open it, and I'll provide it first
Okay,
thing
so
tomorrow morning.
I looked in the Daily Journal. I asked you if it was in the
It's,
Daily Journal.
so we have two options, Press of Atlantic City and Daily Journal. It could be published in either of those two papers. They are our legal papers.
Okay, so notice was put into the Atlantic City Press that you were going to amend the 2022 master plan.
In
to-
December, correct.
In December.
That's correct, twice.
2 days before the meeting
No.
that took place on
No.
December 12th?
It was published after it was introduced, which was the requirement, and it was published at least 10 days prior to the adoption.
Okay, so prior to that, what task force did you have in place to study the benefits of having cannabis in Buena Vista Township?
Are you asking,
Yeah.
again, are we
Yeah,
inquiring question
yes,
back and
I
forth?
definitely would like to know what study, what research you did to find out that it would be
It was done in the
beneficial.
master plan, which is available on our website.
I'm sorry,
It was done in the master plan, which is available on our website. The master plan actually states everything in there regarding cannabis and the position of, and the position of the land use board.
To understand that it was going to make our township a better place?
It's
to have it
listed in the
there?
master plan, and it's available on the website.
Okay,
Donna, for the record, I mean, we
Okay.
make $1.50 an hour doing this job. I mean, this isn't like this,
We're just
this
trying to
fountain
understand
of
how you
enrichment that we're trying to pull the wool over anyone's
no, I'm
eyes.
just trying to understand how you came about making this decision, okay? And our, your voters don't want it, but I want to understand your reasoning behind wanting it.
Okay.
So, on October 28th, New Frontier Solutions received their letter from the New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission granting them conditional license approval. On a license application with New Jersey Cannabis Regulatory Commission, you have to state where the intended business is going to be located.
Was there a question there?
No. So, on December 27th, you stated during the committee meeting that you had no knowledge of anyone wanting to open a business for cannabis in Buena Vista Township. Is that correct?
What was the date?
December 27th.
Okay.
You stated that you had no...
We had no formal interest at that time. No applications had been submitted
Okay.
as of that date.
But on October 28th, New Frontier Solutions received a letter from the New Jersey State Cannabis Regulatory Commission stating that they were granted conditional license approval.
And does one have anything to do with the other?
No.
Would they have been granted approval if in their application they didn't state where they were going to have it?
That's a CRC, that's
I'm
a
not sure.
CRC question.
That's a question for the Cannabis Regulatory Commission.
It would not have been approved.
Donna, at this point, the license has been denied. We
I understand.
tabled
I'm
the ordinance that you guys took issue with.
If you lied to the public on December 27th.
Okay.
Okay, so on November 8th, did you have a
Donna,
meeting?
can we, I want to put you on the ballot. I think you are probably the better fit for this role moving forward. I think, by all means.
On November 8th, did you have a party at Pickwickian Restaurant?
What was the date?
November 8th,
Okay, yes.
okay? Who is owners of Pickwickian Restaurant?
I have no idea.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Donna, I believe it's been 4 minutes.
Dr. Chapdelaine, who is part of
Okay.
New Frontier Solutions. Dr. Robert Chapdelaine
Okay.
owns Pickwickian Restaurant.
And I might have been at 5 Points November 10th, and I was probably at Savoy November 11th.
Did you not have any discussions? Why with the owner of Pickwickian Restaurant, not have a conversation with you.
Yeah,
Bill, it's
We're
formal.
kind of going down a rabbit
This is
hole. I
insane.
Let's
patronize
stop
to the
this.
extent that I can every business within Buena Vista Township.
This is ridiculous.
I'm probably
Can
at
you
Pickwickian a
honestly
dozen
say-
times a year. I'm
can you
probably at Five
honestly
Points,
say-
Savoy, Luna's.
That on December 27th, nobody showed
What is this
any interest.
interrogation?
I don't know where we're going with this.
Here's what we're trying, respectfully, I just want to tell you.
Just state name and address for the record. 'cause-
Michelle
thank you.
Raisy, 614 Union Road. I'm being extremely respectful. This young lady and I work full-time corporate jobs. This has become our second full-time job
That's a shame.
because of this happening in our community. We don't understand why you would allow this in our community.
What if we, I mean, at this point,
Well,
we
you're-
denied the license.
Can you promise us you won't let it in our community because we don't want it?
Okay.
I mean, if you want to have a marijuana store, put
I-
it
I
across the
think-
street from here.
I
I'm
think
fine with that.
The universe has kind of, I didn't hear that.
Okay, never mind. But I mean,
Oh, so you're fine with it, as long as it's
Your
not
signs say in
your-
BVT.
yeah, well, honestly, we don't want it in BBT, period.
That's
So-
not what you just said.
Oh, are you gonna interrogate us now?
Are you
Oh, I'm not
interrogating me?
interrogating, I'm
Guys,
just
I think at
reiterating
the
what
end
you
of the
just
day,
said.
this is a family-oriented community.
Yes, and you
I
know
would
what, Mayor
love the
Jerry, we
opportunity
want
for
to
us all-
keep it that way. That's why it was a shock, a wave shock that went through the community when people got those letters because nobody knew it. I know you have to go through the motions of putting things in the paper a year from now, but we're not on time clocks to be watching you, okay? When we got those letters, a wave went through our community of terror. We have people on our street that want to retire, and you know what? If there's a cannabis store on that corner, we can say goodbye to our property values. And
I live a block away. I mean, do you honestly feel in my heart of hearts that if I felt that was the case?
but what
that-
I'm asking you is, your township
A block and a
doesn't.
half?
Your township doesn't want this
it's
at
4 minutes.
all. We don't want it at all.
Yeah.
We don't want it at all. Please, listen to me. From my heart, this has ruined my summer. It's starting to affect my personal life, my health, my career. Is that what you want to do to your residents? And the bottom line today, I get my bill for the taxes. $10,000 to live next to a cannabis store. So please, just find it in your heart not to do this to your community. Please.
Thank you, Michelle. Would anybody else like to approach for public comment?
Well, let me say just one more word. I gotta apologize. When we talk about Yost Road problem, a lot of the problem is that land was cleared off. My parents came here, my grandparents, 115 years ago. That farm was already cleared off and whatever. And the road at the time was exactly where the road is improved now. A lot of the problem is that that road there has a 60-foot right-of-way. Tuckahoe Road only has a 50-foot right-of-way. But that land was farmed up to that road by people 100 years ago, up to where the road is now. Is it squatters' rights? Were they illegal? Whatever. And where that fence is poses no risk whatsoever to anybody. The thing with turning the truck around where the township has a use for it, 100%. And to back that off, I don't think anybody can argue that. But where that fence is on land that was farmed 125, 130 years ago to that spot.
Thank you, Mr. Hensel.
Not again. No.
Not again. Come on.
I have one more comment. How many of you have been down Yost Road to see this fence and to see the road? Raise your hand, please. Okay, so only 2 of you, only 2.
Spent quite a bit of time down there, right, Bill?
Only 2. But if you went down Yost Road where it is now, how many of you, or the 2 of you, would be aware that instead of going straight, it goes this way? So it has not adhered to the actual road that was in place from the time I walked down there when I was 3 years old. The road does not go straight. It takes a bend. Go down and look at it. And you tell me why. Why does that happen? But if you haven't been down there, you're not even aware of it.
Thank you, Mrs. Paczynski.
You're welcome.
Put this in for the night.
I'm Carol Panko, 454 Union Road. The old bank and the 2 buildings next to it, they are so grown up with trees and weeds hitting the roof. Is there anything that you guys can do to make it look more presentable? It's so run down looking, and they're trying to lease it out, so who's gonna
We can
look at
have,
that? And
We can
have
send
our-
our code enforcement.
Yeah, we can have zoning officer send them a letter.
They
I'll
cut the
contact the
grass, they're
property
cutting the
owner.
grass today,
Fine.
but it's atrocious looking. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion to close.
Hang on, you got one more.
Oh,
Gary?
Down that application for,
Gary, can you come to the microphone so everybody can hear you, please?
probably be loud enough. So down
Not
that
on TV.
She's got to take it down, too.
So you're down the application for the most recent something solutions to go on Union Road, correct? Gary Lawari, Landis Avenue.
Their license
The
was
local
denied.
license, correct.
So the ordinance that you put in place is still there, correct?
Correct, that's
Correct.
correct.
All right. So now that the owner of that property realizes that's an attractive spot for a pot place, then obviously that's what he'll search for next.
Do you see any businessman moving forward, kind of with what's taking place here in the next 6 to 8 weeks and kind of wanting to go down that same road?
I can't see the future, and neither can you. If the ordinance is on the books, once you've opened that Pandora's box, and the next application has all their Ts crossed and their Is dotted,
They would still need the same variances to operate.
and if everything's in place, we're gonna be in the same boat again.
The zoning planning board would vote on it and give them the variances or not.
We'll be in the same boat again as we were. So it's great. I'm glad you had the announcement tonight. You're really proud of yourself. But you opened up that box, and I don't know what's gonna happen at this point, but I can't believe that you even went down that road to begin with. And I got here a little bit late, so I'm kinda glad that some other people were upset that the 4th of July isn't still going on, and we're worried about National Night Out. I appreciate that also. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Once again, I will ask for a motion to close to the public.
Motion to close to the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item 15.
Mayor, there's no executive session this evening.
Item 16. Need a motion and a second to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.